All right, so we are now on the record. I want to first off welcome my two of three co-hosts, Ryan Abel and Mitch Jackson, to the Blab this morning. We decided to do something a little different with our sort of press release. We own .live amongst several other domain names, and .live being such a great fit for the live streaming community. As it turns 3 months old today, we wanted to do a live stream to promote that and tell people about it. So wanted to invite some of the early adopters into the Blab and kind of get their take, and we'll kick it off. So I am Mark Goeth. I am in business development for RightSide. I've met these two wonderful gentlemen at Summit Live, and want to continue obviously going down this path and being part of the live streaming community. So welcome to you two, and I'll let you introduce yourself. Ryan, you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. I am Ryan Bell, founder of Summit.live. We actually changed our name to a .live because of the fact that it just fit better in our landscape and was able to be kind of an all-encompassing thing for live streaming. Personally, I also have the domain Ryan.live, which I think is awesome because you can tell I'm pretty damn live. And I'm excited for this conversation because it's a conversation about vernacular. It's a conversation about realty. It's a conversation about how to use tools in communication. And I'm excited to be on here. And I don't even think we need Brian Fanza. Brian Fanza, whatever, he'll come on. But I'm excited to be with you and Mitch. So Mitch, as we were talking before we started the show, has been my friend via live streaming and in real life because of live streaming for a long time. So I'm real happy. So Mitch, take over, do your intro, and do your thing.
Well, right back at you, Ryan. And Mark, thanks for having us on the show. It's great meeting you up in San Francisco, Mark. My pleasure. You know, as Ryan said, it's about being live. And one of the reasons that I'm embracing live streaming, one of the reasons that I think we've all connected, and as a lawyer jumping on these platforms, is it allows me to show the human side of what I do. And I'm a little disappointed that we don't have more professionals on the live streaming platforms. It's a great way to connect. It's a great way to show that we have belly buttons just like everybody else, and I think that's important. So Mark, with the .live extension, as you well know, we've jumped all in. As Ryan, I've got Mitch Jackson .live, and it points right now to my Periscope profile page. And we've got some other things going on. So it's great to be on the show, and I'm a big proponent of being unique. And one way of being unique is adopting some of the new extensions that, Mark, your company makes available to all of us.
Yeah, that's great. We obviously appreciate having early adopters, influential adopters, such as you two, and people that we can really highlight as we go out to different events. And so it's been great having that, Mitch, with your human.social and streaming.lawyer, amongst other things. Obviously I could go on and mention other domain names that you own, but I don't think we have enough time for all of that. And then, Ryan, Summit.live, and Ryan Bell.live, Ryan.live is amazing stuff. So looking forward to just expanding on this, continuing to grow this space, and hopefully you two can really help us do that. So,
hey, Mark, can I interrupt you real quick?
Absolutely.
Because we have an important announcement, and we have a birthday. Since this is a live show, and today is Jen Hoverstad's birthday, and she's over in the comments. I think we all need to sing a digital happy birthday to Jennifer. So everybody wish Jennifer happy birthday. Am I right? Isn't that what being live is all about?
Can we just type it in?
I think the three of us should actually sing happy birthday.
Oh my
Jen.
God. Okay. All right.
Shall we?
Real quick. Yeah.
All right. Work with me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jen. Happy birthday to you. That's what it's all about, guys. That's being live.
I like that.
That was awesome. Thank you, Mitch. Thanks for doing that.
She's good people, and we need to embrace good people in this world.
She is definitely good people. Not really sure what's going on with my webcam. I think it's tracking my face, so I guess it likes my face. I don't know.
What's not to like, Mark?
It's got good taste.
It's got good taste.
Exactly.
So Perfect way to kick that off. Wish Jen a happy birthday. And I guess we can go ahead and jump into a few questions as we wait for Brian. He can obviously provide his 2 cents when he gets in, or maybe a couple dollars worth. But we've written down a couple of questions here and wanted to kick it off with, I guess the first one here. How did you hear about .live specifically, and what was your first impression of the domain .live?
Go ahead, Ryan.
I'll take that first. So I'm a domain whore. Like I own way too many domains. My wife says I have a problem. I'm always on the lookout for domains. So I found the .live thing because I didn't like .tv. I thought .tv was old because I think cable TV is old. I'm not being paid to be on this. I want to be on this because I love domains, because it's a part of the vernacular. It's a part of the conversation. I think of domain names as realty, as real estate, and they do gain in value, especially if you use that as part of your culture. I mean, if you go really, really far back into the world, tools and communication, that's how we are successful as humans. So tools and language. And this is just a new part of the language. I have a friend named Chris Hewer, who was one of the moderators at Summit, who owned 1,600 different domain names. And his wife got mad at him. He sold 800 of them and made a pretty tidy profit by selling them. So it's just an interesting thing, because .com seems old. Like do you like when you get an email from what is an email? Like if I get an Outlook.com email or a Yahoo.com email, I'm like, what the hell is that? Like that's a really old ass email account that you have. I think that always redefining yourself, like having a .lawyer is pretty awesome for Mitch. Having a .live is pretty awesome for me, because it doesn't need to be about like just .com. It needs to be about what you are. That's right. And I think Gary is talking about being an old ass, but that's or AOL.com or Netscape.com.
Yep.
You know that somebody needs change their damn email address if it's AOL.com. What do you think, Mitch? I mean, I don't know. That's kind of my opinions there.
It's like real estate. It's like a monopoly board. And if you have the right pieces of real estate, you're positioning yourself, I think, for long-term success. I'm like you, Ryan. The only time I don't have a problem with domains is when I have a chance to go out and buy a new one, and then the world is good. So just like you, I've got a ton of domains also. But I think in a attention deficit type of world where it's really hard to capture and grab somebody's attention right off the bat, there's nothing like a domain that shows the world what you do. As soon as I saw .lawyer, and Mark, I don't know where I first saw that domain. It might have been on GoDaddy, I don't know. But the first time I saw it, I jumped on it, MitchJackson.lawyer. And right now I've got them pointing to different sites and blogs, but it immediately shows my unique audience who I am and what I do. And I think that's what's important. What's really cool about .live is it can apply to many different platforms. It can apply to music. It can apply to live stream. It can apply to X Games, outdoor sports, whatever it might be. And I think that's a pretty cool domain to have that covers many, many different aspects of life. So,
yeah, cool. And I think you said something really important there is, we call it platform agnostic. So, today the big thing is Periscope and Blab, but that's not to say that 6 months or a year from now, there might not be something that is replacing this. So if you have a .live address that you're pointing to that platform, regardless of what platform you're on, people know where to find you. So, if today it's Periscope, tomorrow it's Blab, and then 6 weeks from now it's, Facebook Live, whatever it is, you have a domain name that you can take with you, and it's, definitely a platform agnostic approach. So that's perfectly said, Mitch. I appreciate you bringing that up. That was really good to touch on there.
And before you ask this question, it's interesting how the consumers they're accepting the different .com, .live extensions now.
Yep.
Okay. I think one time people were a little leery on clicking on a link that wasn't .com. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think with public awareness, it actually I think is actually something that favorably reflects upon a business or upon a venture, unlike maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, absolutely. So we have a question here from $1 Million Bill. Really good one. And I think you kind of just touched on it briefly there, Mitch, but do you see more non.coms gain popularity like .vegas and .live? And, I think for me personally, the answer is yes. And I think we will continue to see that, with the likes of Google and Apple and others starting to use new domain names and put them out there in the wild. I think you're going to start to see a mass adoption over the next 12 months. I think 2016 will be a really big year for this community and in this space. And, definitely, I think .live will be one of the domain names that leads the way, with live streaming being such an anchor. It's not going anywhere. We're constantly seeing new things released, with GoPro making their announcement, which was really cool. Ryan leading the community events and getting people together, getting them excited about being in the live streaming world. So I think it's, I definitely think it's going to be cool to kind of be part of this and watch it grow over the next 12 months.
Yeah, I agree. And also, as a creative person, you think about the constrictions that you have with .com, because you have to, like so many of those names are taken. And if you have a new domain, like I want to do a news show, and if I can do news11.live, then the dot is already part of the story. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that I'm working on right now is kind of a news show on that's live that we can all share, and that's something that I'll be coming out with this in the upcoming week. I believe it'll be next week, hopefully, if I'm not too busy. But we want to do fun things. But .io was really popular last year, and I had friends that were like trying to buy EIEI.io. Like I thought that was pretty. But being clever, like that's what we want to do. Because that's the way that you get the grabs. You get people to listen to your story. So that's my opinion on that.
Great minds think alike, Ryan, because Jen Hoverstad and I do have a new show coming out, and it'll be focused. It's a weekly show. We'll be focused primarily on live streaming. Okay, and just this morning, we took the domain theshow.live for the reasons you just shared. In other words, we now have theshow.live, and we'll eventually be pointing it to our platform, our profile that will be hosting our weekly shows, and we'll probably start on Blab. So, Mark, we're walking our talk with respect to what the audience is hearing. As recently as an hour and a half ago, we just picked up another .live domain for the reason that Ryan just shared.
Yeah, and I think that's wonderful. People are starting to get the fact that these kind of going back to what Ryan was talking about, his friend trying to get EIEI.io. People are making phrases out of these. It's not just a domain name with a .com extension anymore. It's now a slogan. It's a marketing slogan. It's an advertising slogan. Mitch with human.social and Guy Kawasaki with art of .social. Now it's becoming this thing that we can read from left to right, as opposed to this is my company name and then this is my website address. It's all sort of working together, as a kind of a synergistic approach to naming your business, naming your website, putting yourself out there.
Well, Mark, I had Guy and Peg on my show, and they both commented one reason that I became kind of the center of a target where I got their attention was because of human.social, for the reasons, that's one reason they were on my show.
Yeah.
And they mentioned that on the air. So there's power to having a domain, a unique domain that's relevant to what you're doing and will capture your audience's attention. And that's a really good example of how it worked for me, and it'll work for anybody watching the show.
I love that. That's perfectly said. Ryan, you have anything to interject?
Not really, no. We've got @experts.com interested in the idea that I've got to have more visibility from .live and from that idea. So I was just doing that. But how do I make my own non.com extension? Is that like Like, I see that question. That's an interesting thing, and that would be only something that you guys at RightSide could answer. Is there? How can, like, say I wanted to have .Ryan Bell? Could you make that extension?
So you can't. The answer is yes, you can. As with anything, right? There's always a price associated with it. So if you want to apply for your own domain name, you can do so. There's ICANN, which is the controlling kind of entity of domain names. They, regulate the process. They have an application process that you can go through. Currently, the application process is closed. The first round of domain names have been actually kind of closed, and they're going through and allocating them through an auction process and everything. So right now, it's not open, but that's not to say that it won't be open again in the future, maybe 2017, 2018. But there's definitely costs associated with it. There's a lot of technical integration back-end work that you have to do to support registering a domain name, being able to transfer it. I'm not going to go into all of that. That's another blab topic for another day. But definitely it is possible is the answer.
You use the phrase cost prohibitive. That usually is the way to get people off.
Very much cost prohibitive. Yeah.
Very, very friggin' cost prohibitive.
Yeah. So good question though. Good question.
No, that was a good question, especially for people that are like us that really want our names to get out there. So I have a question for you. In the SEO world, how much does it help to have multiple domains with the same name? Say I had ryanabell.live.me.com.io, all pointed to one thing. How much does that really help me in the long run, SEO wise?
There is some SEO benefits to that, and ultimately I'm not an SEO guru myself, but what we are seeing is more or less it helps from a brand awareness perspective. Think about it from if you're ryanbell.com and you're ryanbell.live and you're ryanbell.me and you're ryanbell.lawyer, you're all of these different things. If you have some consistency to the left of the dot, then you have an ability for everything to the right of the dot to be specific to what you're promoting. So if you're ryanbell.com for your main site, and then you have ryanbell.live, which goes to your live streaming, everyone is familiar with how you structure your domain, and they just have to swap out the extension now for where to get to the appropriate location. So we call them complementary domains. So .live is complementary to your .com. So it's a way to use multiple domain names with the same structure. And the only thing different is the TLD, as they call it, or what's to the right of the dot.
And can we talk about that for a second? The right of the dot. We talked about, I was telling a lawyer the other day about this upcoming show, and I said something like, if you want people to talk, get the right domain on the right of the dot. And I hadn't heard anybody else mention it that way, Mark. So you're talking the left side of the dot and the right side of the dot. This was previewed as .live. There are other right side domains that your company offers. We mentioned .lawyer. What other right side domains are available that your company orders that we might want to look at for the right side of the dot branding?
No, great question. So we have 39 of these domain names.
Okay.
So we have definitely a decent sized portfolio. Domain names like .video, for example, if you have, let's say you have a YouTube channel. YouTube's not live, but it's a place to store your videos. You have a ryanbell.video that goes to your YouTube channel. We have .family is our newest one that just came out. So
those are all yours.
Yeah. So we're seeing big brands start to use .family. You think about like Johnson & Johnson. They have a family of brands, as they call it. So there's Johnson & Johnson .family. I know Ryan has been interested in the .family domain name himself. So we've been kind of talking about that. Obviously lawyer and .attorney. We also have .studio. .news is one of our biggest. We have .rocks and .ninja. So I actually have I have .ninja, which is I have bowtie.ninja. I like wearing bow ties, and not very many people out there wear bow ties, so maybe I'm trying to bring that back. So promoting bow tie. I'm a bow tie ninja. I'm an expert in bow ties, or I'm an expert in my own mind. So that's a way that we're trying to explain how to use .ninja. People ask, well, I'm not a ninja. No one's a ninja. Well, everyone's a ninja in something. Ryan's a live streaming ninja. Mitch, you're a lawyer ninja. Or a trial ninja, whatever you want to, however you want to explain it. We're all experts in something. So,
Okay.
It's kind of a creative way to do that. And if you're interested, I'm happy to send a list of every domain name that we have. The election season is right now. We also have .Democrat and .Republican. So, it's a way for all of the candidates to get a domain name based off of their kind of platform. So
you're not the only good-looking guy that wears a bow tie. That's my son last Saturday night at Winter Formal.
Boom.
I had a long, regular, traditional tie. He goes, "Dad, I'm going with the bow tie tonight, pal." And I think he pulled it off rather well, Mark.
Yeah, looks good.
So you guys were making me think when you were talking about the .family, because I always like to play, like my idea is technology is a plaything. And with the .family, because everybody now is relatively tech savvy, I can have a shared account with my family that they can go on and do and have a sandbox, and I can give that to make a .family account that would. My idea is to have a lot of videos and a lot of different things that we can share, and we can plug and play just using WordPress or whatever. That's just really, really simple, and maybe even making it private. So it's not just about having the domain, but it's about what your intent is to do with it in that sandbox once you own it. And even the domain itself gives you the ideas to do something with it when you have it. I don't know. What's up, Jason?
And another interesting aspect for those of us that have been online really since day one, since we were using modems to dial up and first connecting on the World Wide Web, it's interesting that a lot of people picked up domains, purchased domains, and just had a monopoly on the market of picking domains that were relevant to our companies, into our industries and our professions. And what's really cool about these new right side of the .domains is it allows many of us to continue branding ourselves in the way that we wanted to 15 or 20 years ago, because there's new domains available that complement what we do. So if it's .family, if it's .lawyer, people that spend a lot of money acquiring all of these domains, that's great, but now there's a new way to brand ourselves. And especially for new startups and new entrepreneurs, rolling out new products, I think they can pick a domain that actually reflects what they do a lot easier in a very cost-effective way. And when I'm helping clients start their businesses, Mark, one of the things I talk to them about is their online presence, just because, like Ryan, I'm passionate about this stuff. It's a game changer. Many of them are not even aware of the domains that you offer. And I'll tell them, you know what I mean? Have you had that problem out there, public awareness?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, awareness is our biggest obstacle, right now. I say it a lot, is we're fighting against 25 years of ingrained thinking that .com is the only thing that's out there. So it's like, how do we shift that paradigm and that thinking to get people to start thinking that there is something different, there is something new and innovative, memorable, brandable, every acronym that you can think of, we can use that to describe these domain names. So I think people like you, Mitch, and you, Ryan, and Brian, and everyone that we can get that has a network of people that is constantly tuning in to what you have to say, to use our domains, even if it's in the most simple form, even if it's a redirect, like MitchJackson.live, redirecting to Periscope. If you're sharing that on Twitter, all of a sudden people start to see that on a daily basis. That's what's going to, help us promote these domains and gain awareness. And I think that's sort of part of my job, I guess you might say, is working through gaining influencers such as yourselves that can really help us promote, raise awareness about these domains, and do it in an efficient manner, where we're able to reach multiple segments and not necessarily having to go through the traditional domain routes, where we've gone before, with just selling them traditionally through a registrar. Now we're trying to get them out there, in as many places as we can.
Right. No, I like that. I remember early on when Twitter first came out, one of my friends who worked in the BMW tech sector or whatever, he got all the Twitter handles for BMW. You got BMW M Series, you got BMW USA, and then you got like all these sports stars, all their handles, and all these people had to come to him and buy them from him for like $500, $1,000, $2,000, sometimes $5,000, and he made just a killing off of owning all these Twitter handles, and so I think that's always been really funny. But Gary Carr is in the chat, and he's one of our brilliant PR directors, and I think that there might be an intro there that could help you, because as business developers, we love to have PR people. So thanks for being in here, Gary, and making all the funny comments about Trump and Clinton. But I should connect you guys, because he's gotten us in Forbes and Entrepreneur and Adweek and Market Watch and all that stuff, which is very, very highly valuable. But to use influencer marketing, I mean, without you guys asking, I have Ryan.live on my Twitter. I have it as basically everywhere. That's my redirect. And we're working on that website really hard right now, because I don't have time. I have speaking engagements. I had 6 speaking engagements this month, and I don't have time to really get this thing completely done, because I have too many things going on. But the thing is, Ryan.live tells a story. .com, what the hell does .com mean? It doesn't mean any damn thing. It doesn't tell a part of my story. If I had Ryan.com, it would have no value to me except for as an SEO thing. That's my opinion there. Ryan.live, it tells the story very succinctly, very, very, very finely.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly said. .com doesn't really mean anything to anyone anymore. It's just an ingrained way of thinking. And if we can get over that ingrained way of thinking and start to really show people that now there's a domain name that's made specifically for who you are and what you do, like Mitch is a lawyer by practice. Now there's a domain name made specifically for him and his community. Now there's a .live domain name specifically made for the live streaming community. So, I think, once again, that's perfectly said. .com doesn't mean anything, but now there are so many new domains that mean something, and will actually help promote your brand and promote awareness in what you're doing.
Mark, I'll tell you, with the .lawyer, I picked up MitchJackson.lawyer, streaming.lawyer. People immediately picked up that I'm an attorney that enjoys live streaming and social media. Okay, it's actually more broad than just streaming in the consumer's mind. When I picked up Human.social, Chris Brogan, who's a very well-known blogger, marketing specialist, Chris is a friend of mine. He reached out. He's like, brilliant. I love .social. And if you guys know Chris, he went out of his way to say that was really, really smart to get. And so when you have thought leaders embracing these new extensions, I think that should tell the general public something. The other thing is, over the last couple of years, what's interesting, and I'm going to say about 3 or 4 years ago was the last transaction, but I've helped clients sell their domains for 6 figures. One was a plastic surgeon, one was a tech company, and they were the traditional .com domains. I'll tell you, if that buying opportunity and sales opportunity came forth today, I don't think those domains would have the same value that they did 5 years ago because of these new extensions. As a matter of fact, these new extensions describe the profession, describe the company even better than .com, as Ryan was saying. What the hell's .com? So
doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean
anything. So do you see that an actual monetary devaluation of these old dots now that new dots are coming out that could be either shorter or tell a story?
I do for less known companies. I mean, obviously, if you're a big brand, that's one thing. But I can tell you from 2 personal experiences with 2 clients that resulted in 6-figure sales of the domain, and they weren't even trying to sell their domains, Ryan. People came to them, bigger companies came to them and made these offers that we negotiated. I don't think it would have happened today with these new extensions. I just don't.
Yeah, I think, I guess my opinion on that would be it's really leveling the playing field. There's still value in .com. I don't think they'll ever lose their value completely, or I don't think a domain name is poised to take over .com from the top spot of the aftermarket, as they call it. But I definitely think that we're going to start seeing new domains give .com a run for their money. And people are going to be drawn to using the new extensions over .com because, like you said, Ryan, it tells a story. And Mitch, it promotes your brand. It tells people exactly who you are, what you're interested in. And there's not a whole lot of unnecessary words, hyphens in the domain. There's a lot of availability now.
That's key. That's key.
It's no longer supply and demand, with .com being really the only player in town. Now there's new ways to do it. And Mitch, you mentioned it previously, the startup community is really being drawn to these things because they're short, they're memorable, they're brandable, and for the most part, they are less expensive than their .com competitor because someone has already registered it and they're trying to get a lot of money out of the person that wants to buy it. So I think all of those things are really starting to have people migrate to the new domain extensions.
So I've been thinking about, like, Sean Audie put the question up about what are the things that, like what have you seen in .live that are creative. So I think one of the first questions I asked you guys was, could I buy zombies.live? And because I think that's funny, it tells a story, but and on the lawyer thing, if you did the divorce.lawyer, then you already have your brand. You're able to do that. But I'd like to turn that question around on you guys because honestly, you guys are the ones that see all the things come in. What are the funniest things that you guys have seen? The most creative things that you guys have seen for your dots? I'd love to know that. I think that's awesome.
Well, I can share with you like what we've done, Ryan. I mean, like you just said, I think that was a great example. But we've got mycalifornia.lawyer, okay. We've got myorangecounty.lawyer. We've got Streaming Lawyer, and I was talking with Mark via email last week. We have an app that we're developing, and hopefully we'll be rolling out at the end of 2016. And I can't go into the details, but we're having a really hard time finding a domain name that would complement what this app's going to be all about because they were all taken, right? And long story short, we picked fast.lawyer, fast.lawyer. It was available. It was there, and so we jumped on it. It was a premium domain, a little bit more expensive than the .coms, but I think it's going to be well worth the purchase because it's short. It's easy for people to write down and share in a text message, and it's memorable. And so that's what's worked for us so far.
Yeah, and I think that's perfectly said. And I would really defer to Sean Audie here in this because he likes to come up with creative domains. He put in the comments there, "Don't throw .rocks." I actually got him to register that domain one day. We were joking around about it, and I think we're going to see a lot of that stuff start to happen with people registering creative domain names. There's a company, I think out of the UK. They're a PR agency, and their name is Humor, and it's spelled HUEMOR, and they just rebranded to humor.rocks. As a kind of a creative way to let people know what their name is and that their company is amazing. So there's just so many new ways to do this and name yourself. I think, and I'm not saying anything bad about .com because, obviously it's worked for a long, long period of time, but I think you would be sort of short-sighting yourself, and a little bit narrow-minded to not explore using something new and innovative. Think about all these companies, Periscope and Blab and Mevi, they're all constantly innovating and constantly rolling out new things and new platforms. Why can't we do the same thing with a domain name? Why do we have to use the same old song and dance, so to speak? Let's be creative. Let's name ourselves that's something a little bit outside the norm and make people kind of stand up and take notice.
Yeah, my dream is for Twitter to go and say, all right, any handles that haven't been used for 6 months, we're wiping them. They're done, and then they can open back up. But what new domains that opens up everything right now. So you said the word innovate. So if I have strategy to do innovate.live, then I can just check and see if innovate or innovation.live is available. And more than likely, there's going to be some kind of derivation that can work, or derivation or whatever, So that's fun as hell for me.
Yeah.
It's a time in technology when we can be more creative. I was just talking to some live stream platform creators that are making it so that we can develop our own live streaming platforms in a very easy way. And all we have to do is say, all right, now we need to do the graphic design and make it pretty. But you're going to be able to say, hey, I want to make something like Blab for my enterprise or whatever. It's getting easier to make awesome things in this world, and it's getting easier to name those things in awesome ways. So it's, you guys know how excited I've been for 2016 since 2015, because it's crazy. I've been talking about 2016 because for so long, because VR is such a big deal, and I've started to get some domain names for some of the VR initiatives that I'm working on with other VR companies, and the same thing with live streaming. VR and AR are going to be huge in 2016, and hell, I knew last year that this was going to be big, and now I'm working the Super Bowl for live streaming. I'm working, with big brands like Intel and HP and BMW and LETV, because I know what's going on in the industry, and I know how to communicate in the industry, and your brand helps me to communicate that. And so, you guys are just an awesome tool for me to be able to do a brand new initiative. Say Discovery Network, when I talk to them tomorrow, they want to do something. I can do Discovery Educators Live or something like that, so that a network of teachers can do that. And if I put other tools on top of that, like Slack or Basecamp, and then maybe I use something else, then I'm using those tools in a very correct way. And that's what I'm interested in. And the tools that we have right now are really, really, really damn good. And it's helping the human condition.
Ryan, you mentioned the Super Bowl, and I wanted to bring up Brian Fanzo and his involvement with the Super Bowl. I don't know if you guys are doing it together or separately, but did either one of you take a .live extension or one of these new extensions and add, Super Bowl 50 right side of the dot for just this event? Because I could see picking up these new extensions just for specific conferences, just for specific events.
I think Brian did one. I can't remember what it was, but I just saw that innovate.live is available. That just shows you how open these things are. If you have a thought, if you don't have your own blog or your own podcast, and you want to, and you're thinking, oh crap, I can't find a name because I can't find a .com. Screw the .com. Who cares about the damn .com? Get something that makes sense for your brand. If you're a heavy metal musician and you want to do a heavy metal podcast, dude, podcast.rocks. See if it's there. Play on there. If you're not doing something that's fun in your job, then you need to find a better job or figure out a better way to do your job. I have fun as hell all day, working on this and creating. Be creative in the world. Sorry, I'm getting. You're getting to the end of me, which means I'm getting to the preachy part. You know, people call me like the
Preachy
pastor.
part.
The
Preaching
pastor
live.
Yeah.
But what about Super Bowl commercials? I wonder, Mark, do you know whether or not any big spenders have picked up any of these new domains to complement their specific Super Bowl commercials this year? I think that would be a really good idea, not only for standing out and being unique, but also for tracking purposes.
You know, I haven't heard anything. I know the traditional advertiser that we've all come to know and want to see what they do. GoDaddy. They are, I've heard, are not advertising in this year's Super Bowl. But
well, any type of company.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's any new companies out there. I mean, that would be huge for us. That would be huge for this entire industry. If there was a new domain name that was launched or mentioned in Super Bowl advertising, I think that would just set this space on fire. And obviously we would promote that. Everyone would jump on top of that, regardless of whose extension it was, if it was ours or someone else's. I mean, that would just be huge for this industry. So the answer is I don't know, but I'm going to watch with bated breath, and hopefully that someone does that, because that would be really big for us.
It just blows me away how they spend so much money on these commercials and they don't send people back to a Snapchat account or an Instagram account or a social media account or a website, or bringing them back into their worlds. And what a way to do it with a new .live, for example, extension. And when you guys picked out .live, was live streaming even around? Was that something you were thinking about, or was it a completely different, unrelated topic?
No, I think it was, Periscope, how long has that been around?
Less than a year.
Yeah, less than a year. Meerkat probably launched about a year ago. This domain name's only been out in the wild for 3 months. And we had to go through an application process and everything leading up to that. So I would say, we probably put in an application well before the live streaming really kicked off, as far as, Meerkat and Periscope and Blab and all these others. So I don't know. I mean, it was great foresight. Whoever decided to, I would love to take credit for it, but it wasn't me. If you ask me, maybe I will take credit for it in the street, but no, it was great. The company's done a great job. I feel like our entire management and board has really kind of taken a good approach to going after these domain names. We have a great group of data analysts internally that really kind of look at what's the overall kind of market. I mean, lawyers and attorneys, there's over 1.2 million licensed attorneys in the United States alone. I mean, that market is huge. So,
right.
When we looked at that, we really looked at sort of what the market size was, but I don't really know what they looked at with live. I'm sure it was probably podcasts and other things like that at that point. Podcasts are obviously still huge, right? There's still a lot of people that do audio live streaming. So that's still a use. Obviously we're talking a lot about video and Periscope and Blab and others, but there's still the element of audio live streaming. There's still the element of live video, like live traffic cams and live video feeds on people's websites. I was just on a bourbon website yesterday, and they've got cams set up in all of their different buildings, so you can see what's going on in the making of bourbon. Bourbon.live all of a sudden.
Right,
now there's
right.
a use for that. So, I think the opportunities and the possibilities are literally endless.
Hey, real quick on Alex's question. It just has to do with intellectual property rights. The question is, for those of you not watching but you're listening, Mitch, what happens if someone registers your name? There are copyright issues, trademark issues. The bottom line is, unless you're a company, unless you've got your name trademarked or licensed in some way, you can usually grab somebody else's name. You see that happening all the time. It just depends on the product, the service, and what intellectual property rights have been preserved. So check with a lawyer in your state if that's happened to you, and get appropriate counsel.
And Gary put something in the comments that I wanted to touch on before he even did that. So thanks, Gary. Where do you recommend going for registration of the domains? I was going to ask you, Mark, because one thing that I've used for a long time now is GoDaddy has a domain finder app on
Mhm.
there, and you can favorite things. So I had a favorites list of about 100. Where all can you buy the right side domains, and where do you recommend to look? And I really can, like, I'm not even joking. I can, like, I play die. All right, okay, sorry, there was latency. I play with this as though somebody else would be playing Flappy Bird or something goofy like that. I'm always looking for I swear, like my wife's like, "What are you doing?" And I have to lie. Like I'm like, I'm playing Flappy Bird or whatever, So because I don't want her to think, "Oh my God, he's going to spend another $30 on a freaking domain," Like, that's my problem. I literally have a domain problem. So
Yeah.
where all does directs to the right side things?
Yeah, so we use all of the registrars out there. I think we have partnered with 115 or 117 registrars throughout the world. So, the likes of the GoDaddies and Name.com and Register.com. Any place that you can buy a domain name, for the most part, you can buy a right side domain extension. So, it's, they're available everywhere. Obviously, you can go with your registrar of preference. If you use GoDaddy for all of the domains, definitely, go use GoDaddy. If you use Name.com, continue using Name.com. We really don't care where you buy them. Just go buy them, right? So.
And
Be a part of the discussion.
Do you have, Mark? I've looked at different, for example, .lawyer and .live. I'm seeing many different price points and availability, issues with some as opposed to others. Any tips for the general consumer going to, for example, GoDaddy? They're looking for a .live. Are these prices negotiable? Are domains that are showing they're not taken, but then when you search for them, they're not being used? Is there a inventory that you guys are hanging on to with select domains? How does that work?
Yeah, great question. So for each of our domain names, we did go through and we priced a certain selection of them. I kind of go back to that data analyst team. They went through, so let's take .family, for example, our newest one that was just released. We went through and priced domain names based off of the number of families in the world with that surname. So, we kind of did it as tiered approach. Most of our 3-character domains are priced. All of our 2-character domains are priced. So if you see a domain name that you want that might have a higher price, or it says make an offer, those are always scenarios where you can reach out to myself, reach out to anyone at the registrar that you use, GoDaddy, Name.com, wherever, and find out if there is a way to negotiate that price.
Denial.live is available. See, I'm sorry.
I was curious about that.
The denial.ninja is available. See, if you guys start doing this, you'll realize that there is a way to get a problem with this. Like, I think right now I only own like 30 or so domain names, but that's paring it down for me. But it's
Ryan, we have Dr. Cindy Brown here to help all of us
I
with our domain issues.
I don't need help, Dr. Cindy Brown. Leave me alone.
You're just fine the way you are, Ryan.
I'm just fine. I'm okay. Is dead.live available? See, now you guys are realizing how fun it is. And there's very few people in the world that have the domain problem that I do. And I think that's why I now have friends at Right Side, because of my domain problem. By the way, can I get a free domain for doing this for you guys? I'm joking. No, I'm joking.
Ryan, you hit me up offline. We can talk about something.
Okay, sweet. I've got a problem, man. I'm sitting here like fiending for domains now. See, DoHow team has that. I've got to stop here at noon. Okay. So, do you want to kind of do a little wrap up, or do you want me to just slowly fade away?
So Ryan's leaving to go search domains. That's what's really happening here.
Ryan.ninja, he just disappears. I think we definitely covered a lot of good stuff. It's, obviously, to kind of start wrapping stuff up here, everyone here at our company and at companies like GoDaddy and Name.com, we all, as they say, drink the Kool-Aid on a daily basis. So we hear it, we sell it, we know, how to talk about it. But what's refreshing is to hear individuals that are not in the domain industry, that are business professionals, Mitch being a lawyer, Ryan in the live streaming community, and just being, a person of interest, you might say, seeing you use these domain names in a creative way and talk about them, be passionate about those. That is what excites us. That's what excites me. That's what's going to help us put these domain names on the map. So we love that we have advocates in our corner, and people that are really passionate about that outside of the domain industry, because that's what's going to make this successful.
One of the workers at Blab, Jason at TechStud, says that trolling.guru and trolling.expert are available. All right, guys. So my birthday's coming up. You guys can buy me one of those. That would be awesome. That'd be awesome. I usually hide my birthday because I don't tell anybody my birthday. This is the first time online that I've told my birthday's coming up. But now that I actually want something, I'm going to tell people. Because usually people get me really stupid shit that I don't want, but now I'm like, ooh, I want domains.
Do you have your birthday domain, Ryan?
No, not yet. Mitch,
all right, well, make it happen. Come on.
Let's find some birthday domains.
So while Ryan's searching to see if his birthday domain is still available, I'll tell you, Mark, it's a pleasure to have been on the show. I'm a big believer in what you guys are doing on the right side of the dot. I'll be speaking to 3 or 4 major lawyer associations across the country over the next 4 or 5 months, and I will be sharing the .lawyer, the .attorney, some of the .legal that we're using. I think it will help with some major traction, and I think for identifying to the general consumer, the general public, who they're interacting with, I think it's important that someone knows that they're interacting with a lawyer or an attorney, and when you sign up, it requires us to list our state bar number, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir,
or email address or something like that. So there's almost like confirmation that you're dealing with an attorney when you're dealing with somebody with one of these right side extensions. So Mark, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show. Ryan, thanks for all that you do, buddy. I really appreciate that big Monster Energy drink you shared with me up in San Francisco. It got me through the Friday, and you guys have a great day today, all right?
Thank you, Mitch, for being a part of this. I appreciate it. I know Right Side appreciates it, and yeah, we're excited to see what you're doing over the next 12 months and on into the future. So thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
I don't think I have anything else to add to it, guys. Thank you so much. We've got tickets for Summit available, and we're working on doing some very special things. And it's going to be, we're doing it like a best of, and we're going to also have some external field trips. Let's just call them field trips for our next event. So go ahead and buy up your tickets. It's at summit.live, which is on Mr. Mark's shirt.
What a great domain.
I know. It's like so awesome. I love it because it tells our story immediately with the fewest amount of. So going back, there was somebody that asked, what is too long for a .com? What is too long? And in my opinion, going with value, having the fewer letters is always valuable because that can transition and translate over to Twitter handles. Twitter hashtags. The perfect Twitter hashtag is like 7 characters long. It fits in that 140 characters. So shorter is always better. But if you're telling a really funny story, then you can make it long as it's memorable. That's my opinion. And I guess that's it for me, huh?
Yeah. I appreciate both of you guys. Ryan, as always, it was great. Mitch, once again, great getting to meet you finally in San Fran. We'll definitely be in touch in the future. And thanks again for being a part.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us, to everyone in the audience. And a happy birthday, Jen, Mark. Good to see you. Ryan, take care, bud. We'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
That was the most fun conversation on domain names that I think anybody could possibly have.
That's true.
All right, I'm out of here.
All right.
Talk to you guys later.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.